The Caribbean conquest of 2041. Finally, all of Central America has gained independence, and Mexico has claimed a small bit of territory from the US, but the US and Mexico said that's fine. Canada also was allowed to have Alaska. After months of protective occupation, the Haitian Peninsula was finally back to normal. Now, in Cuba, tensions have rised up, but not over their occupiers, but just over the war, that it just ends. Meanwhile, the Caribbean islands were mostly getting their land back, and Guyana also declared war on the Caribbeans, wiping them almost out in South America. Meanwhile, the Dutch also hold a big territory of Brazil, and so does Colombia. And Colombia and the US made an agreement that Colombia gets all their land back, which the US have taken for protection. And so does an agreement with Ecuador. Which also takes a small land of Ecuador itself. Later, land was successfully retrieved. And so does Venezuela, sort of. Which started invading Colombia as well. But that was for land purposes. And then made it a bit in a stalemate. Later, Brazil and Argentina started giving Uruguay independence, starting in Canelones, and then to Montevideo and more. But mostly cover up the north first. And last up was Montevideo, and Uruguay successfully gained independence. Now, Paraguay. And the Caribbeans was sort of much defeated by the whole continent of America. Paraguay's success. Now it's only Chile and Peru. and French Guiana as well, together with Suriname. Which started out like this. But the Allied forces were still in French Guiana land, so that did not really work. But first up on the list was Chile. Which started off in the south. And it was all thanks to Argentina. Now, also Chile got their land back. Now, mostly Peru has to be given the chance. And Peru is mostly completed. But Ecuador was kind of carved up between these countries. But that was fine for the Ecuadorian government. Now South America is mostly back to normal. And now, the massive defeat for the Caribbean islands. Was that all their land? Almost got annihilated. Puerto Rico, together with the US, started invading the land, which made the Caribbeans mostly surrender. Now, Cuba. With the thanks to America, Belgium, Angola, Brazil, and Argentina, the Cubans finally got their independence back. After a long time of being in protective occupied land. And Cuba is fully back to normal. Now, the Bahamas and Brazil. Which got the land back from Nassau and Freeport from the US. Now, with most countries back, will this be the end of the Caribbean regime? Well, let's find out in the last part.